Hey Dumplings, it's Dave Decide. Today I want to get into the BTS breakup or hiatus, and I wanted to talk about V getting into his new group that will be quote-unquote debuting soon, and of course rumors of why the hiatus is happening and how the military ties in and all that. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Forever Dumplings, he's spinning mugmerch, and let's get into it. So I think by now most of us know what is going on. I think most of us woke up to BTS trending on Twitter, and if you don't know what happened, let me quickly recap. BTS released their Festa clip. It was an hour long. And usually with these clips, they'll recap their experiences in the last year and just how they're feeling about each other and their career thus far. It always ends with them thanking armies and just a lot of emotional stuff. Make a grown man cry type of stuff. During this new drop, there was a small segment that ended up being more talked about than any other part of the video. Suga announced BTS is taking a hiatus, and this hiatus is different from the previous ones because this one is going to be focusing on their solo work as opposed to them just taking a hiatus to go on vacation. So other hiatuses they've taken are like 3 months, while this one might be years allegedly. And this was specifically shocking because I think armies have suspected it, and of course we've spoken about this multiple times on this channel, but we never really thought it was this soon. A lot of armies were crying and upset over the anthology album because it felt like a goodbye, but people didn't want to believe it. But I don't think the album had necessarily anything to do with it. In the live stream, they added that the initial first chapter of BTS was supposed to close after the On era in 2020, and this was derailed by COVID. I think it was great to not announce such news during a big world crisis. I can't even imagine how many people BTS's music has helped with people who may have been struggling in the hospital. So I'm very glad to hear that they didn't do it then. But if I may give my opinion, it also bothers me that their goal was to break up or take a hiatus in the On era, because it was only after their On era and during Dynamite and Butter and all that did they actually break the ceiling with K-pop music in America. If they had broken up then, BTS wouldn't have had such a big name in America. Maybe individually with their solo work, which I will talk about, but not BTS as a group. And then it also bothers me that I felt like they just got started in America, and now with their solo work, they may either choose to not do anything in America and just stay in Korea. I don't know. The members went ahead and talked about how this was a great thing for each of them individually because they will get to show their true colors and not have to sacrifice me for we type of thing. Each of the members can focus on more personal endeavors. Maybe Taeyang will do jazz music, as obviously he may not be able to do that and still be on brand with BTS, but he can do it for his solo brand. J-Hope has announced recently that he was going to be performing by himself at a festival, and this was mentioned about how the members were planning their solo activity already and J-Hope was supposed to kick it off first. And no surprise, he had one of the highest selling mixtapes in the group, I believe. I could be wrong, but Hope World is a great mixtape. Now this is all kind of confusing for the one big reason of the fact that BTS didn't exactly say why they're taking a hiatus other than them wanting to explore different sides of themselves. But obviously if you watch the clip, you notice that none of them wanted to part. They all very much wanted to be together and were very emotional over this idea of leaving. There was a rumor and conspiracy theory that a big reason for this hiatus is the military enlistment of Jin. The theory goes that if it wasn't for the pandemic, there might not have been a military extension for Jin given by the government. The law is now known as the BTS law. The extension, I believe, was given because of the virus impacting the South Korean economy or businesses that HYBE ended up being one of the highest contributors to the Korean economy, which I don't know if that would have been the case if not for COVID. Because if other businesses were all flourishing, then there would be other sources of income for Korea, even if HYBE's income was so high. But after COVID, one of the main sources of income for the country was HYBE. So in my opinion, this led to reconsideration of the initial military law to keep the economy going, which led to Jin's enlistment being postponed. In which case BTS might have been like, well, Jin's not leaving now, so let's try to put out something and keep going until he has to. And BTS mentioned how they had considered leaving in 2020, so the theory might have been because the enlistment was supposed to happen then. But they are doing it now because the enlistment has to happen now. It's June, we haven't heard anything from the government. Likely that's the answer. They don't care. So people think that this was Jin's goodbye because of the enlistment. Another rumor is that HYBE was the reason for this hiatus. And I can understand why people want to believe this. When there's big news, maybe sometimes disappointing news, oftentimes the label will take the blame to protect the artist's image, and it could be easier to think that HYBE was the reason rather than the members just wanting to take some time to figure out their own styles and work on their own music. But it likely has nothing to do with the members or HYBE. People online were saying that HYBE is the reason because they forced their musicians to become entertainers rather than musicians, forcing BTS to create create webtoons, merch, and all that stuff that had nothing to do with music, and saying that maybe this is what burnt them out and this was the reason for their breakup. However, this makes no sense. Working in a group, even if you're burnt out, you have support of the other members and your team. Even if you're struggling, it's easier as the success doesn't rely entirely on you. But if you're a solo artist, your entire success relies on you, and so if you're burnt out, you're done. So I don't see that if they were burnt out, they would want to go solo and burn themselves out even more. BTS probably wanted to create some stuff and do entrepreneur stuff that they never got a chance to do in their career before. BTS has always been into fashion, so doing things like having merch, designing their own clothes and own products are of interest to them and something they seem very excited about. Them doing the webtoons was their attempt to be a part of an industry that they never got a chance to be a part of, something very new and exciting for them. And this is what life is. This is what makes life fun, trying something new. The best way, according to the fancy psychologists, to get burnt out is to do the same thing over and over again. BTS literally didn't do that, and they were probably really happy. And also, this is so weird to claim that being an entertainer is a bad thing, that BTS being in all different avenues of entertainment rather than just music is a bad thing. V has been in a K-drama before. Why did he do that unless he had some interest in trying to act? Jin has mentioned many times wanting to be an actor. People ask Jungkook to act all the time. BTS are also some of the best dancers. If they were solely just musicians, most musicians can't dance. That's not their job. BTS has been trained from the beginning to be entertainers. I don't know specifically about BTS, but K-pop trainees are often trained on how to be funny and charming on camera. Why? Because they're training to be entertainers. It's so silly to blame HYBE for wanting them to be entertainers when that was the whole deal to begin with. The fact that people care so much about their personal life shows that they were always entertainers first. But this was a lot to take in. I would encourage others to not try to come up with various theories as to why. These are interesting theories for sure, and there's tons online, but a lot of them are placing blame on either the company, a specific member, or whatever, and that is not okay. That is not what BTS wanted. They came together, sat down, and had a conversation with their audience, who they're treating like adults, and spoke to everyone candidly. That this was not a disbandment, that they're not leaving forever, and they will come back together one day. BTS has never broken a promise to ARMY, even very tiny promises that they've made like 5 years ago, they remember and keep them. There was a time where BTS visited an orphanage, and I think it was Jimin that promised that he would come back. Years later, he came back, he remembered, and I trust them to keep their word and whatever reason they have to take this hiatus. It was announced almost at the same time that V will be joining another group. Not a musical group, but him and the Wooga Squad as they call them. I think this is V's actor friends and some of the cast of Itaewon Class, but a bunch of people, if you watch K-dramas and stuff, you'll know of them. And they've all been photographed hanging out with each other and all that before, and they're all apparently going to be starring in a reality show that BTS started and has now evolved into its own show. The show is called In the Soup. I've reacted to season 1 and 2 on my Patreon if you want to check it out. For sure, we'll be reacting to the Wooga Squad In the Soup on Patreon when that comes out. I will link my Patreon down in the description. I think this is so cute and fun. I think we might hear about J-Hope's solo activity first, and V will be shooting his show, and honestly, nothing is going to change for the worst. In fact, we will get 7 things happening all at once. It will be even more exciting because BTS as a group needs to rest every few months. But if a member has something come out every few months and they take turns, we will literally never not get content from at least one of the members. Very exciting. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. I think it says a lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.